like a fat head right on it just for Mike Ford.
I'm
I'm
gonna
ready.
do that. I'm gonna make a fat head right there, so you have to look at Mike Ford every single time we do a podcast. Just gonna put his face right
No,
there. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Dillard, bringing you guys another podcast. This is the Yankee Way podcast number 4. I am here with my co-host, Mr. John again. How are you doing, sir? I hope you're ready for this podcast because it's going to be fun.
I'm gonna get yelled at. I'm
But
just gonna get yelled at.
it's going to be fun, though. We're going to have a lot
I
of
don't know about
fun,
that.
especially with
You have
you.
a very different description of the word fun.
Well, we're going to have a lot of fun. I think the thing that we should really talk about first, it's because I really want to talk about it.
Not Mike Ford.
No, I will
Look,
wait.
we,
No,
we
no,
talk
no, no,
about
no,
Mike
no.
Ford
We'll
all
wait.
the time. We don't
We'll
need to
wait for that.
talk
I
about him.
promise. I'm not gonna start this with Mike Ford. I will
We
make that the
talk about him
second
every
topic.
day.
We'll
This is
talk
the
about
one day
him
I
the
don't want
second
to talk
time.
about him.
You're gonna have to talk about him tonight. It's gonna be the
No,
second
it's okay.
topic.
No, I'm good.
But the first topic I want to talk about, and I have very strong opinions about this. I don't know what your opinions are. I'm very curious what you think about it.
I know where
But
we're going.
I want to talk about Tyler Wade and Derek Dietrich.
That's where I
Now,
was going.
Dietrich is no longer going to be a Yankee. Tyler
Yeah.
Wade is technically the 26th man, as they were putting it. And this is what I don't understand. This is really what I don't understand. Is the fact that if you look at Wade's career numbers, he's a 575 OPS, 57 WRC plus hitter, negative 0.4 F4 in 161 games. Yeah, it's not even a full season. It's still pretty small sample size, but it's like you're getting pretty much nothing out of him in terms of offense. It's just bad, negative production. Then you go to his defense. And if people are going to say that Dietrich's defense is even worse, I'm not trying to defend Dietrich's defense. I know how bad Dietrich is defensively. He's not great. Even at his primary position at second base, he's really not that great. You're not getting defensive production out of Dietrich. You're getting offensive production. I think we all knew that anyways. But then you look at Dietrich's career numbers and you're like 762 OPS and a 108 WRC plus with a 7.5 F4. Significantly better. I don't know about you, and I know like I'm not expecting bench players to go out there and hit like 120 WRC plus 130 or whatnot, because if they were hitting those type of numbers, more than likely they would not be on the bench. I get that, but when you're costing your team wins because you have a negative 0.4 F4, and we're going to not take that in consideration and then just drop off Dietrich, even though he is contributing significantly more wins than what Wade is for his team. And I get it. I know people are going to say Dietrich's defense isn't great. Yes, it's not great. I will admit that. The base running, we want Tyler Wade for his base running. I get it. I can say that Tyler Wade does have good base running skills, although spring training has been kind of hit or miss. He's made some poor mistakes here and there. Yes, it is spring training. I'd be a hypocrite if I said otherwise. But also the other thing that I really want to look at is people always claim that, oh, I want Wade because he has versatility in the field. And it's like, okay, well, yes, he can play the outfield, he can play shortstop, he can play third baseman, and he can play second baseman. But here's the problem that I have with this. Does versatility mean anything when you're only average at best at your best position and well below league average in that term at every other position that you can play? And what I mean by that is, if you look at his primary position usually, which would be second base, he has a 0.0 UZR. And then he has a 4 defensive runs saved. And it's like, okay, is there anything crazy about that? Not really. It's not crazy. It's not worth anything to get overhyped about. And then we, go back into the versatility argument. You look at his numbers at third base. 0.3 UZR, 0 DRS, not great. It gets worse. Shortstop, 0 DRS, negative 0.5 UZR. And it gets even worse with the outfield. Negative 5 DRS, negative 3.3 UZR in the outfield. So I'm trying to understand why people say that he's elite defensively or even good defensively, because he's not. At his best position, he's only average. And all the other positions, he's not great. He's just worse at. So I don't know why everybody had this stigma, or the stigma was going around that Wade is a great defender, because he's really not. And I guess where I'm coming with that is, does it really mean a thing in terms of versatility if you're not that good defensively at every other position other than your main position where you're only average at best? Does it really mean anything at the end of the day? And then also taking into consideration, like, okay, well, we know Wade's fast. He has made a lot of strides in terms of base running, outside of the spring training mishaps, which is obviously a small sample size, and they're experimenting a lot. It is what it is. It happens. I'm not going to blame him for that entirely. But then it's like negative 0.4 F4. I mean, he's not even contributing the slightest amount of a win to the team, even when he is playing. So, and then you go to Dietrich's numbers. It's like, yeah, Dietrich's not good defensively, but the offensive numbers are there, and at least he's giving wins to his team. He's providing them with opportunities to win games. So my whole argument is that I never wanted Wade in the first place because his defense just isn't worth it to me from that argument standpoint alone. You still have Brett Gardner as an option if you want as a base runner. I know that his speed has dwindled drastically. It's an option. But then you also have to look at this. Wade still has one option left, though. He still has an option left. And the Yankees are deciding not to use that. That's on them. But then it's like, I also wanted to just talk to you about this. And this doesn't really mean a thing now because Dietrich isn't on the Yankees. But I saw someone do this. This wasn't my idea, so I don't want this to be like, oh, this was my idea. I pretty much took this from somebody else. But this idea was that in the circumstance that the Yankees did keep Dietrich, and they had Dietrich over Wade, which was what I wanted and what a lot of other people wanted as well, you would shift Urshela to shortstop, DJ to third, and then Dietrich to second, because Dietrich's main position is at second base when Glaber needs a rest. So I want to know what you feel about that possible scenario, even though it won't even happen anymore. It's probably not even a chance it will happen with Wade, obviously. And then I also want to know what you think about my argument in the sense of the defense, the offensive production that you're getting out of Wade, and such like that.
Okay, let me start with this one. When you have a guy like Derek Dietrich, what do you want him to do when he's at the plate? So what do you want him to do? Do you want him to hit the ball and put it in play, or do you want him to just jack one out of the park or get hit by a pitch? Because it usually happens about 50% of the time. Like, are you looking for him to hit home runs, or what are you looking for here out of Derek Dietrich?
I'm just looking for simple offensive production, and he gives me that, and Wade gives me absolutely nothing.
I mean, look, Tyler Wade, unpopular opinion, Tyler Wade is a quadruple A player. And what I'm going to say by that is that he's better than a triple A player. He goes to triple A, he does pretty well in triple A. Like, he hit 310 in 2017 in the minor leagues. In 2018, he had 255, 296 in 2019 in AAA. Like, I want to see him come up every day and like get at bats. Like, okay, first off, maybe I'm crazy, but Tyler Wade played 52 games in 2020. Did I just forget that? Like, how did he play 52 games in 2020? Like, what happened? What did I miss? He really played 52 games? I don't remember this.
Yes, and it was dreadful every second of it. Like, I mean, I'm really trying to be.
I'm not gonna tell you the guy plays the worst defense. He's an okay defender, and he's an okay defender. And as it turns out, he's a really good base stealer. I mean, I'm telling you, man, this guy steals like 85% of his bases. It's crazy. It's good to have a guy like that on the bench just in case you need it. I don't think Brett Gardner's there. I'm gonna be real with you. I don't think Brett Gardner can steal 75% of his bases anymore. I don't think he can. I wouldn't want to risk it.
To be quite frankly with you, I don't think this team's going to win a lot of games by stealing bases. That's why I don't put too much stock and value into them. I put more stock into home runs.
I'm tired of hearing people who are like, man, we got all these people, all they do is they strike out, and they don't put the ball in play, and they can't run, and they don't do that. And we have a guy who can potentially leg out ground balls and can steal bases, and people are like, no, I don't want that guy. No, I don't want that guy. He doesn't do enough for me. And I'm like, what do you want?
That's just Yankees Twitter being
who will bunt the ball and will move runners and will try to steal bases. Or you have Derek Dietrich, who struck out 140 times in 2018, but it's okay because he had a 330 on base percentage.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, that's just going to be Yankees Twitter, the Yankees fan base. Like, they're really inconsistent with what they want.
there's no correlation
Yeah,
here. It's like
I can
he's
agree
the
with
one guy
that.
on our team that does that, and people are like, I don't like that guy. I just don't like the way he does it. I'm like,
Well,
bro,
that's not why I don't like him. I don't like him because of his low
no, yeah, I know you
offensive
don't.
production numbers. I mean, it's bad when you're entering Jeff Mathis territory of offensive production. I mean, it's just not good. At least with Jeff Mathis, he can play solid defense at the catching position. Then again, with the whole versatility argument, Wade's
I
only
think
average
that
at best at his best
honestly,
position. Every other position, he's not that great defensively.
honestly, Tyler Wade is generally, I think he's a solid backup. Like that's what he is. It's kind of like you have a backup quarterback. You're like, you know that if that guy comes in, you're probably still not winning the game. But if you have a solid backup, you're like, okay. At least he knows what he's doing out there. Like he knows what he's doing out there. And also he's cheap too. It's not like we're wasting. I don't know how much Derek Dietrich's potential contract would have been, but like, it's nice to have a guy who's actually cost controlled and is actually a guy who's been in the system forever. I like that. It's like Higashioka. He knows what he's doing.
I feel much differently about Higashioka though than I do about Wade because at least with Higashioka, he's a good defender. He frames well. So, and I like Higashioka. I like his upside
Yeah, he frames
way
well,
more than
right?
Wade's
Error
is.
where that's being phased out.
But other than that, I think we kind of hammered that in a little bit. Oh, I forgot to ask you though,
I
because
think he's an okay defender. I think he's an okay player. I'm okay having him around. That's what I'm gonna say.
alrighty, I forgot. Well, I did ask you, but I think you forgot to answer it. The whole thing with your shell at a shortstop, DJ to third,
Oh yeah.
Dietrich to second base. How did you feel about that? Because then again, like I said, I
No,
didn't create this. I just saw it on
Urshela,
Twitter.
he's being a cool guy. We'll see. You know what's weird is they clearly didn't try him out at shortstop this year at all in spring training with Urshela. Maybe they were just trying to worry about him coming back from his injury, his surgery. They didn't try him out at short at all. So maybe he'd be okay playing it. I don't really want to put him in a situation where he's gonna be confused about what he's doing. Like that's when injuries happen, is when you put somebody in unfamiliar territory and then they do something wrong, and it kind of scares me. I don't know. If he wants to try it, we'll see how he does with it. Obviously, he shits there all the time. I mean, he should be okay. It's only like what, 10, 15 feet over. Hopefully, it'll be okay. But I mean, I'd rather just, I don't know.
I mean, obviously, the ideal scenario would be like leave everybody at their best position, obviously. But like that occasional day when Glaber would need an off day. But now it doesn't matter because it's probably not gonna. It's not gonna happen. With Wade in. I mean, assuming Wade's gonna play shortstop on those days, and then you have your Urshela and
It's okay to not have somebody who is like the top of their game. I'm okay with that. I'll live with Tyler Wade as a backup. Like he's a backup. Like if you have too good a player on the bench, they're gonna be upset. And also, look, it's really tough to get in a rhythm in baseball. If you don't play every day, you're just not gonna show up every day and be like all the player you can be. It happens. I feel like he suffers from just not getting any playing time in the majors. It's me personally.
Alrighty. We'll leave the opinions for the people in the comment section what they feel about it. But moving on, this is going to be probably the most entertaining part of the whole podcast. Probably should have made it in the beginning, but I told you I would not. Luke Voigt.
Yeah.
He's going to have surgery. 3 weeks of.
Already had it, yeah.
3 weeks of no baseball activity. And
I'm surprised by that at all. Like, I don't believe this. Like, look, I'm sorry. Maybe I'm victimized, but like a torn meniscus surgery is like I heard it's only a couple months.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, yeah, 3 weeks of no baseball activity. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, he might be out for 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do you mean? Like, that's a very conservative time frame in a land where we come from conservative time frames. And we're like, I don't believe you.
It seems a little too optimistic, and us as Yankee,
super optimistic.
And as Yankee fans, we're used to seeing this type of optimism, and then just being completely let down from injuries the last 3 years, pretty much almost at this point.
I'm not gonna get mad at them for being like, yeah, it's only gonna be 3 weeks. Like, I'm not gonna get mad at them for saying that stuff. Like, I don't care that much. It's like, no matter what, it's gonna feel like forever. It's gonna feel like forever. It is. It's just gonna feel like forever. And then like this 3 weeks of no baseball activity, and then like 2 weeks to ramp up, and then like a couple weeks to like hit in the minors, and then get back to where you are, and then you come back to the majors, and then you're not right for a couple weeks, and you're never gonna be sure if that knee's gonna hold up the rest of the year. Like, it's gonna be a long process.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a long process.
So that leads I'm more concerned with what you have to say about this discussion. But now it leads the question: who's going to be the starting first baseman between Mike Ford and Jay Bruce? I mean, Mike Ford, I tweeted at you all the time on Twitter, 4 for 4 with a home run, like literally the day after the Luke Voigt news.
You know, what my problem with Mike Ford going 4 for 4 is? It's not him. The problem I don't have with him, I have a problem with the Blue Jays pitchers who come up and the first guy gives him a first pitch fastball and he hits it like into the gap and everything, and then he does it again, and then the third pitcher goes, "Wow, you know, we've thrown this guy 2 first pitch fastballs. You know, that must have been a fluke. Let's throw him another first pitch fastball right down the middle. Hits it for I don't know. I think that one was a single or something. And then the fourth time he comes up, the guy was like, there is no way this guy is expecting a first pitch fastball. He throws him another first pitch fastball. Like, what are you doing? Come on, man. Like, first off, the guy who was pitching him is going to be driving Uber or bagging groceries in a couple weeks, so it doesn't matter. And also the fact that, like, wow, he went 4-4 in one day. Let's have a parade for the guy. He did it. Congratulations. Put him on a roster. Give him the MVP trophy already. He's ready for it, man. Just make the MVP trophy. Put a face on it like a fat head right on it, just for Mike Ford.
I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna make a fat head right there, so you have to look at Mike Ford every single time we do a podcast. Just gonna put his face right there.
Look, not the worst looking dude, not gonna lie. No, none of that. Not into that. But just like, and really, you know, he did well. Okay, maybe he finally woke up that day and said, "Man, Luke Voigt's not in the lineup for a long time. This is my chance to show up." And maybe he did it finally. I don't know. Maybe there's just been confidence issues where he's like, there's no way I'm making the roster anyway, so why should I try? Maybe that's it. But honestly, those fastballs, I expect a major league hitter to hit those. And he hit them. Good job. He hit like 91 mile an hour belt high fastballs. Good job.
You know, Mike Tauchman couldn't hit those last year, though.
He's doing it this year.
He is. You got to give him credit for it. Tauchman's been amazing.
You can be happy with Mike Ford, you know, going 4 for 4. Congratulations on your moment. But, like, I expect a major league hitter to do that, hit belt high fastballs and be like, nah, no disrespect. Like, call me when he goes 4 for 4 off breaking balls, and then I'll really wake up and be impressed.
Hey, he hit that way. You never forget, one of those home runs he hit in 2019 was on a nasty 12 to 6 o'clock curveball from Kershaw. So
wow.
He's done it in the past, I will say. I'm more concerned, though, like, who you think is going to start and who you want to start. Because here's the thing. Mike Ford still has 2 options left. There's that possibility.
I think he goes to the minors.
And then, obviously, both Mike Ford and Jay Bruce are power lefties, so you're going to get the same kind of type of hitter from both of them. But here's the interesting thing. And these are according to Zips, which is a different type of projection from Fangraphs. There's several types of projections that Fangraphs has, but Zips is usually the one that I go to the most. It usually seems to be the most accurate, in my opinion. It varies from person to person, obviously. But according to Zips, Mike Ford is projected to be around a 769 OPS, 101 WRC plus hitter with a 0.7 F4. And then you look at Jay Bruce, and he's projected to be around actually worse.
Dietrich, I don't believe you.
He's projected to be around a 760 OPS, 94 WRC plus, 0.7 F4 hitter. So similar numbers compared to both of them, but I mean, Ford's got the higher WRC plus and higher OPS. So what do you think about those predictions?
Well, that's probably because Jay Bruce has hands instead of, pieces of meat that he uses to field with. Everyone went nuts because Mike Ford caught a pop-up over the railing. Ooh. Everyone's going getting all hot in their pants over that. Like, good. He didn't even do anything. He just reached over. Like,
what are you talking about? He made an Andrelton Simmons play.
Deli. Like, that's all he did.
Gio Urshela wouldn't even made that play.
Just because he was on the other side of the field. Because he's at third base. He still might have made that play from third base. I think that Mike Ford starts in the minors. I mean, God forbid something happens to Jay Bruce. Like, I don't know. You've got backup for Bruce in the form of Wade, in the form of LeMahieu. Like, worst case scenario, you get some rando to play second. You have DJ play third, and then have DJ play first, and then you put her, figure something out. I mean, I know for a fact that unless something catastrophic happens to Bruce, I don't think Mike Ford's coming up. I don't. Good for him if he manages to hit a 769 OPS, I'll get a calendar of his. If he does it next year, I'll just get a 12-month Mike Ford calendar.
I'll just get you a fathead for your Christmas or your
I'll
birthday.
do it. Yeah, like I'd love to see it, but I don't see it personally. I just think that Jay Bruce has a glove. I think he's a veteran presence. I think that he's a better ball player than Mike Ford is, just flat out.
That's why I didn't even mention defense, because both of them don't play that great of defense at first base. Neither does Voit either, if we're talking about defense. So I don't really care about defense.
No, they're not really. I mean, to be fair, we don't really have a first baseman that does defense on this team. Let's be real here.
Yeah.
I mean, LeMahieu is the best defender at first base, and he doesn't even play there every day.
Well, we don't want him playing there because his best position is second base.
He knows what he's doing. He is not just a participant.
But so obviously those projections, you don't like those projections for Ford, but in my opinion, if Jay Bruce ends up, obviously making the team, which I expect Bruce to make the team and play most of first base until Voit gets back, I'm not going to be against it. I think Bruce is a good backup player. Obviously the defense isn't great, but it's not like the most horrendous defense for first baseman.
We don't need him to lead this team to the playoffs. I don't need him to hit 55 home runs this year. If he just shows up every day, posts like a 245 batting average, and has some pop, I'm happy with that. In the interim, just until we get Voit back on his feet. And honestly, I don't think that if I had a show character, I don't even think I could make Mike Ford hit a 769 OPS in the show, let alone in real life. I'm just being real with you.
Interestingly enough, I never knew this, but did you know Jay Bruce has hit like 318 home runs?
It's crazy. He's I don't think he's going to be a member of the illustrious 500 home run, 3,000 hit club, but he's making a case for getting up there in terms of threatening Teixeira in terms of home run ranks. Maybe we'll see. I don't know. As first base Yankees. Not sure.
Alrighty, so moving on, I think probably the last thing that we should talk about is they finally announced we would finally announce the starting pitching. So obviously you're gonna have Cole open. You're gonna have Kluber, Herman, Montgomery, Cole again, and then Taillon. It's kind of concerning from all the comments and all the tweets that I saw on Twitter. Apparently people don't realize that the Yankees don't play the day after Cole pitches, so a lot of people are like, Cole's on short rest, and I'm like, no, he's getting the same amount of days rest. So not worried about that. The interesting thing is having Taillon start so late, but I know the Yankees, if they're thinking, as far as where I'm like looking at it from my standpoint, how I look at it, it's almost kind of like Kluber. At least Kluber's like had a veteran presence. I know Taillon's had some good seasons in the past with the Pirates, obviously, but I think it's more just like taking it slow, like not trying to push Taillon into a position that he's uncomfortable with. I honestly am not against it. A lot of people are having problems. They're like, Taillon should be the third or fourth starter right now. I honestly don't mind. I think it's just to gradually push into the league, back into the league, getting his feet acclimated, just getting more comfortable again with pitching at the major league level, since he's had a lot of issues with injuries and such. I'm not against it. Obviously Cole's going to get plenty of rest. Kluber, although Kluber's command has been kind of here and there with spring training, he's still not allowing a lot of earned runs. His ERA is in a good place, so I think with time, and obviously he's a veteran presence, so I think Kluber will be fine moving forward. I think what's really interesting is, we don't know what's going to happen, obviously, but Montgomery, honestly, at this point in time, has the potential to be the second best, if not the third best on the Yankee starting rotation. And then you also have Domingo Herman. It's like, this is a really, without Severino, like this isn't even taking into consideration, like if this starting pitching is just dominant, it ends up being a great signing of, Kluber and Taillon, and then Sevy comes back healthy. Man, this starting rotation is going to be filthy with Sevy back if he comes back to form. But like already, like there's so much potential. And I know a lot of people get scared when people say the potential word, because it obviously doesn't mean anything's going to happen. It's not guaranteed. But still,
it's got a lot of potential, but
but like the starting rotation, like I'm so excited. Like it's genuinely been a long time. It's been a while since I've been really this excited about the Yankee starting rotation.
I've been there every year. No, I mean, look, it's important to have Tyone come back when we're 5-0. Look, that's the important thing, is just have him pitch right when there's no pressure. 5-0,
That's
easy.
very gutsy of you, assuming we're going to
No,
go 5 and
no,
0.
I don't think we win the first 5 games, but like, I'm being optimistic. But someone was like, "Oh, you're going with the 6-man rotation." I'm like, I don't think this is a 6-man rotation unless you're having Cole pitch like every other third start. Like, I don't think that's how that works. I don't think that's sustainable at all. Like, I think Tyone, they want him to have like they're lining everybody up right now, and they're gonna have Tyone pitch like maybe third or fourth in this rotation, and they're just they're gonna shuffle some people around real quick in the beginning, and then get into like a more normal rotation as it goes on. But just in the beginning, they want to put their best foot forward, get the best pitchers out there in the front, the ones they're confident in. They, I guess, have more confidence in Kluber than I do. I mean, I don't know. It seemed like he just pitched today and just kind of was like kind of a mess, kind of got squeezed a little bit, kind of looked like he was terrified of throwing a strike. And I don't blame him. It's like every time he got near the zone, they hit it for like extra bases. That was like kind of weird. And it seemed like he'd get ahead on the guys and then just be like, I want to throw the perfect pitch, and then miss with it and then end up walking the guy. And that happened multiple times. It just freaked me out today. I hope he figures it out. His stuff is nasty, but I just gotta use it. It's like Michael King. Just gotta use your stuff.
Yeah, he was. There was a period of time where he looked really good. You know, he had 5 strikeouts, but then it just shifted, and then he was just gradually walking everybody.
It was just like that ball that DJ should have had. After that, it was just dumpster down a staircase, out of control. We can't stop this. Like, there's nothing we can do. Thankfully, Krisky got out of it and then came back and then looked pretty good for the next 2 batters, and then it took him out again. But like, it's gonna be tough. I mean, he rides a very, very sharp edge of, like, he doesn't throw hard enough to get away with mistakes, but his stuff is still pretty good. He should be able to get away with stuff, but today he didn't. I mean, maybe that Phillies team is just really good, and we just,
I mean,
I took them over, by the way, just in case anyone out there is, thinking about it. I took them over.
To be fair, that Phillies offense has been destroying the Yankees this spring training.
I know. They've been running a lot of people.
I mean, that's what I said in the past on a past podcast with Lucas Lutke. Lucas Lutke, however you pronounce his name. That's gonna be fun trying to pronounce his name for the rest of the season because I keep forgetting.
By the way, should have made the team and absolutely should have a spot on this team, 100%.
But I was gonna say with Lucas, talking about him in the past, I made that argument that a lot of people are like, well, spring training, how much stock can you put into it because you're facing a lot of hitters that aren't going to see regular major league playing time.
In a couple weeks.
But it's like he went 1-2-3 with all strikeouts against who was it? McCutchen, Harper, and Gregorius. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing bad about that. There's nothing to take lightly about that. Like you said, offensive production from the Phillies. I don't, getting into the Phillies and what I expect from them this year is a different story. But I think the Phillies got a really good offensive team got going. Thank
God we don't got to play them.
Yeah.
Nope. No thanks. I'm good.
Thankfully.
All season? Nope.
Actually, but we do play them like occasionally this season. We just don't play them regularly like they're in our division.
Yeah, right. We're not playing them like every day.
But
I thought it was super weird the other day when Julius Chachin was pitching and his spin rate jumped off the chart. That was really weird. I don't know what to make of that. I watched it and I'm like, that's not the Julius Chachin that I remember. So I don't know. Maybe the gas station pumped him up. I have no idea. But man, that looked like he just had it on another gear that day, and it was really strange to watch. I don't know if he'll accept it. I think he has an offer today on the 29th. I think he needs to decide whether he needs to opt out or he's staying. I don't know.
I'm not really going to be too worried about it, regardless of what the decision is, to be honest with you.
I love to keep him in the minors just as depth. It'd be nice to have if he figured something out.
Alrighty. Well, I think that's about all the time that we have today. We got through some topics. We probably will end up doing a podcast right before opening day. Not sure what we're going to talk about. Probably just more about projections and what we expect out of each individual player and such and whatnot. But that's about it. If you guys haven't subscribed, definitely make sure you subscribe. Click the bell notification so you never miss a video that's uploaded. You're always on time with the uploads. And then also make sure that you comment. Let us know in the comment section down below what you guys want us to talk about in the future. If we just haven't talked about anything that you really want us to discuss and nail in. Also, like the video, and if you want to share it, that means the world to us. Also, go and follow Jad or John on Twitter. His Twitter account is Jad. I call him John. But follow him, and also follow me if you haven't already. And we will see you guys on the next podcast. Have a great rest of your night.